Hey, Ryan.
Good morning, Mr. Lashawn.
Hey, good morning.
Today, we are going to talk about confidence. And I
Yeah,
appreciate you giving me that topic, giving us that topic. It's an important one that I don't think we've been able to hit.
yeah, definitely.
And I've been meaning to talk about it, and this is the only really platform that we can kind of do it on. So I wanted to give you the ability to ask some questions, obviously. But I want to say, first of all, you've been helping in the DM, and it's been quiet this week. And Patrick is new as well on there.
Hmm.
Really, it was only Catherine kind of full time on it before. And I just want to thank you and thank him if he's listening and say that it's freaking amazing to wake up and have a lot of that handled. So now we can really kick gear into the other stuff that brings even more people to the door, you know?
Definitely.
So a good way to kick off a conversation about confidence probably is directly tied to this. Having a team of any kind, joining in forces of any kind, greatly amplify up your confidence. I should start personal on a personal note. You're a fair bit younger than me, Lashawn. How old are you?
22.
22. So I grew up not very confident, especially part of my story here in the health business. I was born kind of crippled.
Yeah.
Might sound dramatic for people who actually know me, but they always knew that I was stiff and very physically incapable of pretty much doing anything that they were doing. So I was not confident physically at all. And part of how I dealt with that was by grouping up, by teaming up with other people. I was always around people,
Yeah.
and my friends were very physically capable, so I wasn't worried about a confrontation because they were there. And that's just one example. But also, when I was looking to join academia, uh, no matter how big your ego is, you're not going to come out and say, oh, I'm 22, I'm just going to go do this on my own, right? I went and looked for a team to join, presented myself to the best of my ability, got an invitation, and then kind of worked hard. And a lot of people that are listening to me now, they think of me as the talker, but in all these years leading up, I was not the talker. I was a quiet kid. I was in groups of older people primarily. And I was not talking that much about anything. I didn't have that much to say. I was on the sidelines, just keeping it cool, keeping it quiet, participating in whatever I could participate in, soaking up knowledge, taking advantage of opportunities, right? Climbing up the ladder.
Yeah.
It's not normal to be born confident. If your parents did a great job with you, you should have, self-respect and all that stuff going into it. But that doesn't mean you're going to have fully developed skills kind of thing by the time you step into the social environment. So there's always going to be a long process. And if your parents did do a good job, you're good to start, but still you're going to get knocked down. And this is one of those things in here that the first of all, lack of confidence is a good thing. Why is it a good thing? It's a good thing because if you're worried about confidence, it means that you're looking to do something. You're looking to do something outside of your comfort zone,
Hmm.
right? So you shouldn't automatically be confident in it. Any feeling of inadequacy or something is literally a sign of ambition. If you're not worried about nothing and you're totally self-confident, you're probably not even trying to do anything, right? The CEO's got to put himself out there all the time.
Yeah.
He or she is not expected to just have this inborn confidence. They just wake up and put on their suit. This is part of their practices. Everything they do around it makes them more confident. One thing here that we're doing right now, one of the things that makes me more confident is I have a piece of paper and a clipboard in front of me and a pen, and I have written down 8 talking points. I'm confident now that I'm not going to lose track or something. I'm confident that we're going to be able to have a conversation. If you just called me randomly, right, and you asked a couple of days ago, what did I say? I said, give me a couple of days.
Yeah.
So I could put it on my list. Lists and goals are a huge, huge part of confidence. If you're busy, first of all, doing your lists and doing your goals, you don't have that much time to worry. You're also focusing on the small steps that are involved. On my goal list, I want to get a nice car one day. I don't mean like a shiny, nice car. For me right now, I'm looking at a diesel van. Well, it's a pretty expensive piece of equipment, but I don't spend a single second of my day thinking about that diesel van that I need to get because I'm obsessed with these little lists.
Hmm.
We're surrounded with lists. Our house here, we've got 3 whiteboards on them. They all have lists on them. Whiteboards because they're being crossed off. We're actively engaged in our lists. And then all over the house, There's shorter lists, smaller things, day lists of things we need to do today. Right now, there's a list of things we need to talk about, etc. How is this confident? Because if you're not going in prepared, how are you going to be confident?
True.
Right? You go into the job interview, one of the things you do is prepare. What is this business about? You do a little bit of homework about the company that you're about to work for. Obviously, you think about how you're going to say your own speech if they ask you, your history. Obviously, you get dressed appropriately for the interview. These things give you confidence. You know what I mean? But if you just woke up and you weren't prepared at all, oh my God, I got a job interview in 30 minutes. You didn't think about what you were going to wear. You didn't think about what you were going to say. You didn't do any homework on the company at all. No way you're going to be confident. You're probably going to mess it up.
That's actually one of the mantras that I go by that my college professor told me. He was like, there's no such thing as luck. Get that out the window. He was like, luck is just, not preparation meets opportunity. And that really stuck with me because it's like, it's true. It's like, if you're not prepared, if you get this offer, it's like, look, I have this amazing job for you, and you're not prepared. You had that lucky, quote unquote, situation, but you weren't prepared. You didn't do what you needed to do. And oftentimes people don't even realize the work that you put in prior to get that, to be able to meet the requirements for that opportunity. You know what I mean?
100%. And if you've never seen it, there's an excellent program on this. Darren Brown did it for the BBC a bunch of years ago. I forget what it's called. Something like There's No Such Thing as Luck. It's a full-length, hour-long program. Darren excellent Brown. And worth watching. And it goes exactly to that. Yes, we got to take our opportunities and stuff. But to me, the confidence, it goes a few ways. You asked about credibility as well.
Yeah.
How to build credibility. Well, credibility goes with confidence too. And part of this is unrealistic expectations. I've talked about this a lot, especially in the health business. People think that they need to be the credible one, whereas I don't really ever think that was true. I started to get credibility when I worked at a gym, and nothing to do with my physique, and I was young. I was like 18 to 22 years old when I worked there, and there was lots of older men that came in, and and just mature people in general. I'm out of high school here. I'm not exposed to a lot of mature people, but I started to get respect from them because almost every time they would come in, they would see me with a book in my hand. And if you look around the real world now in smartphone land too, very rare to see someone reading a book. They actually do stick out. Yeah. So if someone is paying attention, they assume, especially based off first appearances, if they see you the first time they meet you, you come over for dinner, you're scattered, maybe you're breaking up with your girlfriend or something, you're all over the place, you're on the phone, this and that, you're running this, they're going to assume you're always like that. But if they come in for the first time and they see you reading a book, they're going to assume that you're a book reader, and that they're just going to categorize you like that, and they're going to now ask you your opinion on it. So I'm saying that I had real people, for no real reason other than that they saw that I was reading a book, because people believe what they see. And this is even if, you show yourself on social media at all, you got a shelf of books behind you. A lot of people are immediately going to recognize that. And I had regular, real people asking me advice when I was not qualified in any way. They didn't know me at all. They didn't know that I barely graduated high school. They didn't know that I'm only reading books because I feel extremely behind in my overall development,
Yeah.
And out of boredom. Like, these don't give me Nobel Prize winning traits here, but it puts you a little bit ahead of the pack, or it separates you, maybe not ahead, separates you. Why should somebody listen to you on anything? They have to know that you're the type of person that does their homework. So I'm saying this because you don't need to be the Nobel Prize winner. You don't need to be the Dr. Wallach. None of us do. But we need to be at least credible in our beliefs. Yeah. I'm going to go even further to say that I have some pretty out there beliefs that I've actually been public with. And people in this business have kind of told me, maybe you shouldn't put all of your opinions out there. Yeah. So I have limited my political beliefs, putting them out there, and religious beliefs and sexual beliefs, anything like that. Anything that's getting too personal, too religious, too political, I try and keep that to a minimum. But I still have some beliefs that are extremely controversial, and it doesn't seem to limit my overall credibility, as long as I'm not backing up what I'm saying somehow. And here's another part where people crumble on. This is in the proposal. What are we actually proposing? So I'm confident because I know what exactly I'm proposing. And I know that if there's a challenge to something that sounds a little bit more out there, such as frequency tuning discs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Radiation pollution, some of the more things that are more difficult to accept on a mainstream level. But instead of saying, this is killing us all, or if you don't do this, you are going to die, or you must do this to live to 120 years old. If I dial all those things back, to talk about, well, in my experience, right, it's one of the most powerful statements ever. In my experience, we get really good results with these basic things. Just tone it all down. What am I confident? What am I backing it up? Even if I didn't even mention a study here, I don't need to bring up studies. There's a few books I like to recommend, but I'm bringing it down to the minimum that even with the 90 essential nutrients, we're not promising the world here. We're promising that if you do this, you will feel better because this is our explanation about it. To the degree that you do it is the degree that you will feel better. I really stopped talking about 120 degree. When I first started this, some people were, sorry for rambling if this, but
No, this is perfect.
I have quite a lot of struggles in this business. When I started in this business, my life was at a low point. It was at the lowest it's been, basically.
Yeah.
I was literally homeless. Andrew here, the chef Norman, that we own this house together, we were both homeless at this time. Now, though years earlier, I was known for reading books and for being what people would say, oh, he's smart, right? But then you've also got that potential that people see, and people say, oh, well, if someone's wasting their potential, not much reason to listen to them. So I'm doing tattoos for food money. I'm sleeping on my friend's couch. There's no reason for someone to be there and look at me and see where I'm at in life and to take me seriously. There isn't. And I would get a lot of people, you're probably way ahead of this, by the way, but like, this is a worst case scenario where I have no credibility at all in my life. The only thing I have is sort of this academic argument. And unless they look into that, which most people won't, if you don't have a reason for them to do it. They don't take you seriously. Why are they going to look into what you're telling them to look in? But that's all I got. I got nothing else. My socks are falling apart. I got nothing else. That's not a problem anymore. It was only a problem back then. And it was only a problem not only when I didn't have anything to back it up, but I was also promising the world. Not literally, but the argument was focused on the most extreme parts of the message, right? The death and disease. It didn't help that my brother died very prematurely in this time, you know what I mean? And some other young people that we know kind of dropped dead of aneurysms and stuff like that. And so a lot of the people around us were looking at this as like, we're saying the world is going to end. And we actually know quietly this is happening. Quietly, there are tens of thousands of deaths of young people, that are kind of just written off. And we know some of them.
Yeah.
It was real enough to continue for us, but it is definitely, I understand now that anybody looking in would have seen this as more of just like a sort of a cult, like the world is ending type movement. And you got to buy these nutrients or you're going to die. And most people don't care about living to 120 anyways, quite honestly. Even me, I don't spend any of my time thinking about what it's going to be like as a 98-year-old person if I make it there. It's not my daily concern. You're not going to sell me a product trying to get me to 98 years old or 120 years old. They never sold me on that at all, right?
Yeah.
Let me spin this back even more. You want to know what my friends sold it to me on?
What?
Tangy Tangerine, like this, how they got me started, how they pitched me, how they won me over. Yeah. Chef Norman said, bro, try this.
That's all?
That's it.
Dang. Well.
Yeah. Jeez. And my intellectual academic friend, who I have sort of some reason to take him seriously because he has a little bit of intellectual credibility, he tried to introduce this to me academically, and I completely brushed him off. But my friend just said, yo, try this, man. We like this stuff. It's like $65. We drive and we go buy it off this old man. We love it. It's all, you didn't have to, there was no pitch. Where's the credibility from? There wasn't a proposal. Now, this is not the best way to go about the sales process, but if you're having problems with credibility, it may be that you're setting the pitch too high, right? We already have a great value. Feeling better is a great value. Getting out of pain is a great freaking value. Losing weight is a great value. Getting your stomach working correctly is a great value,
Yeah.
On the business end, making money off of residual orders that you didn't have to put up any overhead for, that is a freaking great value. Really great value. Today on the story, someone brought up the Clark Zapper. That thing doesn't cost a lot. I sound like a capitalist jerk when I'm saying there's no money in it, but it's not only that there's not really much profit in it. If I was to profit from it, I have to put up money to do it, to get involved in it. I have to physically buy them. I have to send them to my mom. I have to tell her what they are. You know, I have to say, hey, there's orders coming into this. We have to manage the process of this, and there's no way we're making any money in this. We're doing it for free. You can just buy it off Amazon. So there's credibility here to be found. I got to stop talking because I've rambled too much. I have other points, but I want to let you jump in here, please.
Well, yeah, basically, I didn't even know half of the stuff that that you just brought up. It's like kind of similar in a way. Uh, should I just start off like with my life, like give a little brief synopsis?
Yes, please.
Well, basically, the same thing happened to me, not to the extreme, like with your body, but I had a lot of disorders growing up, and that led to my confidence issues and whatnot, mental disorders and stuff, as well as traumas and stuff like that. So that kind of contributed to me being a follower, should I say, and like getting involved in a lot of stuff that little kids shouldn't be doing. But overall, that I never really had any like mentors in my life and stuff like that. So I had to try to find my way. And every time I got a mentor, it was like something extreme happened to where they either went down a path that I was like I didn't want to go down, or they passed away, and that was my uncle. And so it seemed like every opportunity that I got, and I started feeling like I was confident, I was like, dumped in the ocean and like left alone, and like I wouldn't have that reliance to go back to and say, hey, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? And so that like was kind of my issue. And so overall, I went to school for theater, and that helped a little bit with confidence and stuff like that. But when I started going to college, that's when stuff really started to hit the fan, and I started to do big things and stuff. And then all of a sudden, once again, I got knocked on my well, I don't want to curse, but
what do you mean big things?
It was just big things, as in like I was making big breakthroughs with confidence. Like I started understanding myself more, and understanding the concepts of preparation and stuff like that. But then once again, I had to start over because I had to drop out of that program. It was like a BFA program, and when I got sick, so basically, yeah, that's what happened. I had to drop out of school. I was like basically incapacitated because I undermined what I was dealing with. I didn't really think it was that big until my mom was helping me to class, and that's when I was like, okay, well. And then so basically after that, I had to start over, and I started getting interested in health. I've only been doing this for like, well, I got interested in alternative health like a year ago, but only really started studying under like what Doctor was talking about within like I would say June or July. And I wanted to say that we talked about this before. The first interaction I had with you, I was trying to disprove you because my mom was like on these stuff. I was like, Mom, that's not, because I didn't believe in supplements at all, based on what I've experienced. Like after I wanted to get in the health field, I got scammed over and over and over again. All these like corner store supplement shops, you think they're gonna make you feel better and stuff like that, and we bought into them. And so I was really, really super skeptical about just supplements. And my mom was like, and then I read the ingredients, and I was like, oh, Mom, I don't know about this. And I started to research, and then I saw, really, I was just looking up Dr. Wallach, and then I went on Instagram and I just typed in his name, and your account popped up, of course, the Wild Warriors. And I was like, oh, let me just follow and see what they're talking about, whatever. And I looked at the page and I was like, whatever, And but it was actually, and you've said this a lot, it was actually when I followed your other account, your personal account, and I saw you reading the same books that I read. That's when I started to you know, make the connection and say, maybe this guy knows what he's talking about and stuff like that.
You ever
And
seen two people meet up in a city they're not from, and they're like, "Hey, man, you're wearing a Detroit Tiger hat too." They don't say that, but like they,
yeah.
hey, bro. I once ran into a guy from Toronto in Sydney, and it's like we were old friends. I never even met him before.
Hmm.
But that "I was too" thing, I just had to interject because that's one of the most important things that you have here. Your skepticism, your initial skepticism,
Hmm.
boom, you now that's your line for handling any objection and that is in the realm of I am skeptical of this information. Big
Yeah.
smile. This is what happens in real life if somebody asks, actually, especially at the store, they're like, you know what, I'm very skeptical of this information. Literally, response. Big smile. Not a forced smile. It actually makes me smile because I consider myself a far more serious researcher than the person standing in front of me. And
Yeah.
I say, yep, me too. I try to disprove them too. Big smile on my face. And that usually just stops it right there. Okay, well, now the next thing, you know.
That's,
So I cut you off.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, no, no. That's like, I love that because like, um, and especially like, I don't know if you like it'll seem conceited or anything if you like promoted your book and stuff like that, but I really, 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 your book, the Nutra-Smart Rebuttal, it really
Mm-hmm.
makes me smile because, um, it's just like I feel like every distributor that's hopping on this account or like that's listening to this should read that book. I'm not even finished with it yet, but um, not only are the responses like you're really understanding what you know deeper into what you're talking about. Like you get the Wallach response, and then you get the further researched and combated response. The research, well, but I don't really understand. I can't really word what I'm trying to say, but it's I think it's really important that people read that Nutri-Smart Rebuttal book because it's I just that's all I can say. So just read it. But
I don't mind you promoting it, and
yeah.
honestly, it's up cheap, like on Amazon. It's not expensive.
Hmm.
I do think it's a great tool. It's 100% why it's there. The
Hmm.
only reason I wrote it is because somebody close to me had the same experience, you know, with the NutriSmart thing.
Yeah.
It happened a few times, but someone literally directly came to the store in Windsor, and she was the sister of like one of our friends. Like, so this person is not someone we could just tell to screw off. You know, she's like, I demand answers to this.
Oh,
She's
snap.
she's serious. I was like, okay, you know, give me a couple of days. I will actually write a response to you. She said, okay, and I wrote that book, slammed it out.
Wow.
You know, and it's not really even a book, but it is. It's worth it, 100%. If you know those arguments in and out, you're talking about confidence. This whole thing is about confidence.
Hmm.
That book is why I'm confident. It's because when you know every answer, all I can do is smile now, right? And if you read that NutraSmart article now, after reading that book, you and all of the other slanderous articles, not even just against Wallach, you can use that same framework to look at all of the bashing articles differently, especially when none of them are offering an answer, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the things, the skeptic.com and the Quack Watch and all this, they're saying all these practitioners, they got nothing, but they're not proposing anything, right? A lot of our message is like, the world is sick and this is why. And it seems to be that a lot of the people who are skeptical are really not understanding that first point there, that the world is sick. The medical establishment is failing to help this. That is the dead doctors don't lie message. So if that's not communicated, then we do have a problem. But that's also why we focus on getting that information out there. The world is sick and doctors are not fixing it. They're making it look like they're fixing it. They're making themselves sound good through media, but they're not offering us a solution at the end of the day. So anything that's bashing any one of us type of groups that are trying to help people actively, like using an active thing, a program, an exercise program, a meditation program,
Hmm.
a food program, a supplement program, anything like that. Anybody who says, oh, this stuff is useless, first of all, they just have no experience in the healthcare world at all. Because if you had any experience at all, you'd know the nurse is one of the most valuable components of the medical establishment itself. People get more help literally just from a nurse being there, just being there. You didn't have to do anything. There's a medically significant placebo-ish kind of response just by being with somebody responsible, somebody confident, somebody to help you with comfort through the ordeal, no matter what they give you as an actual treatment. So it's frustrating to see those types of skepticism, because even at where you're standing at right now, you're a skeptic, but you also had health issues, and even just seeing a little bit of positive response makes this whole industry valuable. There's people in this industry that sell products that I don't think are great, but I think that this marketplace needs to exist untampered with, and we all need to know these basic arguments. That book, all those arguments would work for any company that's promoting anything healthy, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Cause
Especially when it comes to all the stuff that when they're saying like, oh, they're scamming you for money. I go into the numbers there, and you can see, not only that, this is all a voluntary, everything's a voluntary operation. No one's shaking you down. You don't have to get any subscription or anything like that. You don't have to pay to unlock the information. We give you all of the information for free. Dr. Wallach does it for free. I do it for free. I've never been paid to speak, by the way, to my knowledge. Oh, wait, I have. I've been paid to give a presentation on social media to a group of distributors. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was significant to me, you know?
yeah, and also like to just piggyback of what you were talking about. I feel like it's like this weird concept where, and you feel this with a lot of people that are just coming into the alternative health. It's like everybody becomes a researcher when it's alternative health, but you can go to any allopathic industry and just be like, okay, you'll take this. The doc's like this, this, and this, and you're like, okay. And I know this one person. I was like, I recommended colloidal silver, and they were like, I don't know about colloidal silver, and I was like, what? But you would take anything that the doctor gave you, and they were gonna give them this chemotherapy pill.
Let me jump in right now and replace this. The answer is, yeah, no, understand the skepticism, but we get great results in our experience.
Yeah.
That's it. It literally ends it.
That's it.
Accept the objection. Agree with the prospect. At least agree with their right to believe that. And Lashawn, there's articles out there bashing colloidal silver.
Yeah.
Already. So if anyone has looked into it, it's totally justified for them to be skeptical. So big smile. Yeah, I know there's some stuff on the internet against it, but in our experience, we get great results. Pause. If they're actually interested in colloidal silver, they may bring up another question. Remember, I don't know if you saw the Wallach distributor's story, posted a little blurb in there that says salespeople love objections because people with objections are actually interested in buying things. People with no objections, they're just looky-loos. That's what we call them. Whether you have a storefront or whether you're a real estate agent, if someone walks through the house and they go, oh, this is beautiful, everything's so perfect, that's great, yeah, it's great. Yeah, we'll call you about it. You will never hear from them about that house again.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the truth. But if they come in and they say, I don't really know if we can make this work. House we live in right now, right? What are we doing? We walking around, we're grumbling about it. I don't know. Why? Because we're interested in it. That's why. That's why we're looking at it with such a fine-tooth comb. That's why we're nitpicking about the appliances that come with it and stuff. Yeah. A lot of salespeople might get weird about this. Say, hold on, everybody's a researcher. This is why I had to interject here. A lot of times you can just unskirt the objection here and literally just, like if they say, I got to go and research this a little bit. You can even cut past that. Say it's colloidal silver. That's an easy one. Even Dr. Wallach. Hey, no problem. I can save you some time. You're going to Google Dr. Wallach. You're going to see a whole bunch of bad stuff about him, truthfully. If you look a little closer, you see some good stuff. But the reality here, we're pitching that, if you buy this product right here and you take this product and this little sheet here with these little bad foods, if you do both of these things, you're going to feel a lot better. That's our pitch. My pitch is kind of always something like that these days, feeling better. It's very, very hard to argue. And also, most of the time, they don't actually want to argue or research. It's just people talking. And they might look into it, but most of the times they won't. And I'm not dismissing the actual researchers, the geeks that are listening, and the geeks that do exist. I'm one of them. You're probably one of them.
Yeah.
I have encountered them, but I've also learned to really not take people that seriously on just off comments like that. And most of the time we can kind of just move on with the sales pitch or the presentation. What are we talking about here? Have I given my proposal yet? That's kind of a key for me too. If the proposal hasn't been given, a lot of us get ahead of ourselves. If the proposition is not there, we can't even move forward. I have to put the proposition down for there to be a price for somebody to say that costs too much, right? So if we haven't gotten to that point yet, and there's objections in the message itself, I usually would just go back to a more simplified version of the message. What is the problem? Often it's not, though. It's usually not, man. Like, if they have seen the information at all, they know we're talking about fairly basic things here, soil depletion, and, doctors not doing the right thing with drugs, and pretty basic. So the objection is usually not a technicality. So the beginning of this conversation, the arguments for me used to be about the technicalities, but I kind of just rush my way through technicalities these days, and I push forward into my proposal because that proposal anchors me. Right? If somebody's got a problem with the science, to me, the science isn't relevant to the proposal. I hope that doesn't sound too barbaric, but it wouldn't matter if I had a product that didn't have any labels on it at all, and all I knew was that if I sold this product to someone and they took it every single day for 30 days and they felt better, I don't really need to know anything else in order to form a proposal. Of course, that's not legal. We have to know what's in products, obviously. But the technicalities don't matter to the results. The technicalities matter to the engineers who make the products.
Yeah.
Not to the salespeople who sell the products. The best products in the world do not always make it to the top of their marketplace, right? People need to not only know about the base information, but they also need to be skimmed past the stuff that is not relevant. Could you imagine if the iPhone sales team had to confront technical questions about the workings of the iPhone, the inner workings of the iPhone? I have a friend who works at Apple. He does not know the inner workings of the iPhone. That would be way too much to expect from that person. He can help you out with the iPhone. Do you have a problem with your iPhone? Is it not working correctly? He knows what to do. He knows who to call. He might recommend which model to replace it with instead. He might say, you've had that 4 years. Your expectations are incorrect about this model. Anyways, I hope a lot of this had to do with confidence. I really just had to cut you off because when you get into arguments, this is where you actually need more confidence that you don't have.
Yeah.
Because facts, there are so many facts. We are selling a product with at least 90 essential nutrients is what we're claiming. There's a lot of facts connected to those nutrients. And then there's another 150 ingredients that come in the base packs, the basic 3 products that we give in a healthy body start pack. It's over 250 ingredients in there. So, that is a conversation that we should not have at all. If somebody is interested in the technicalities, you should know where to send them. We have a formulator, a head formulator. His name's Richard Renton. He's produced some material about how they make products. You should have that on deck. If you ever encounter someone who has technical questions, the way to handle it is not to answer the technical questions. Honestly, even if you can remember them, and they're too complicated. The supply chains for all the stuff that I used to try and get a handle on that. I used to try and track down where we get all of our ingredients for everything. And then I realized that's Richard Renton's job. You know what I mean? This guy is paid to do this job. He's not out there in the sales force. He's not a distributor.
Yeah.
My point here is that if I spend all my time trying to be Richard Renton, I'm going to be Richard Renton, but I'm not going to get his job. It's his job. He's already got that job. Right?
Yeah. That makes sense.
You don't need to be Dr. Wallach. We've already got Dr. Wallach, but you need to know where to find what to give to them. And there's not that many nerds that really want to know about the actual ingredient. What they want to know is that it's being held well. So why not show them the person who's in charge of it, and they can make their decision. Do you trust this guy or not? Right? Dr. Wallach trusted him, and here's all we got to show you. I hope I made an important point here. I spent a lot of time researching a lot of these things myself in order to combat the nerds who were few, those people who were not taking me seriously for some reason. I should have put that energy into building my own confidence and credibility, writing my own lists out, getting my own objections handled. I agree. I agree. It's a lot of money. I didn't practice those things. If I practiced those things, I would have circumvented a lot of this, and I could have just showed the nerds where to go. I could have said, bro, Dr. Wallach's written over 14 books. Would you like to buy one of them? And then stop talking. And often it's like, okay, that just gave them a little brick of confidence, and they might still have a sour face on their, they might still have a mug on them, but you just told them Dr. Wallach wrote 14 books. He knows that you're not going to sit there and debate 14 books right now that he hasn't read. So I'm giving you the information. I'm skipping that part. If the Japanese video, you've been in the DMs, probably seen even in the comments, whenever we post clips that are more than 1 minute long, but we have to cut them to 1 minute, we're missing information. People get upset about this. They do. Yeah. They call us, they call us names sometimes. They say this freaking account's bogus. I'm tired of them doing this stuff to us, leaving us hanging, leading us on with a title and not really showing us the goods. I'm sick of this. I'm out. This is literally, you've seen this. This actually happens. This is real life. What we do, first of all, in the caption, I try to write, this is part of a longer video, but most people don't read that. I'll answer the question. Rather than saying, you're a jerk, or we work hard. Why would you say that? I don't see you out here doing nothing. We don't say any of that. We say, I apologize. We failed to get the full, something like this. I hope this is actually paraphrasing what I do say, because I usually say something like this. I apologize. We can't fit we failed to fit the full point into this video. If you'd like to see the full video, check the link in our DM. It's on the homepage, or DM us and we'll send it to you. Mm-hmm. Apologized. I agree. I'm sorry. I agree. We're screwing you over a little bit. We're jerking you around a little bit. We're not giving you the full point. And rather than saying, I did my best, I work hard, man. I cut those things up. I paid Andrew $5 a video to put the pictures in those videos. But I didn't say none of that. I just said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Would you like to see the full video? It's the best I can do for you. Right?
Yeah.
I'm shutting up right now. I'm throwing it back over to you. I still got more points.
Yeah, I'll keep it short too to let you know. But you hit like a lot of good points, like a lot of things on my checklist, just basically because I put that pressure on myself to always, like, I see your account and I see the rebuttals and all of these things that people are coming at you with, and I'm like, okay, well, when my account comes up, I gotta be ready for that. But you're right. It's like only a few people out of all of these other people that don't really care. And it's funny because me and Chris actually talked about this. Chris was one of the first people that commented on my stuff about longevity and stuff like that. And we actually got on a call and talked about it. And when you first learn about this stuff, you're like, as you said before, you're like, this is the world. This is what you need to do, or you're gonna die and stuff like that. And you want to give them all these facts and stuff that you read that they're never going to be interested in. And you can see that they're not interested in. And what I started to learn is, planting seeds. Like, you can plant a seed, but you'll notice when it gets overwatered, because that person will start to like, yeah, okay. And they'll start to, look around and stuff like that and not be interested. And that's when I know that, plant the seed, leave it alone, instead of giving them all these facts and stuff that you think is interesting, that you over prepared for all of these other skeptics and whatnot. But the average customer, as you said, is not going to be interested in. And just the fact that you like reiterated that, like, I appreciate that, because that's one thing that, as I said, I put a lot of pressure on myself to like just try to know every single thing, because this is someone's health, and people can pass away from this and stuff. Well, they can die from your advice if you don't advise them correctly. And so that's why I put a lot of the pressure in. That folds me into the next question, is like, how is this, like, how are you confident with your answers, with your what you're prescribing people, and if you're not missing anything, and what is going to be effective for that person. I mean, you tell me like it's not that much, but it's still like that thing right there that I just want to make sure I'm doing this right once again, because This isn't just like, this isn't just like, oh, put a bracelet on, or, you watch a show or something like that. You're showing somebody a show or something like that. This is like real advice against the medical model.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you already asked earlier too about going against the mainstream. So this kind of goes with it. How do you know your recommendation? How do you feel confident in your recommendations? Well, first off, a lot of it is copy and paste and the same for everybody. So the half of it is the food. I guess we could split it into three. We got food, salt, and supplements. That's the way I look at it. The food part, it's very easy to have faith in that. I mean, especially you see us stressing the gluten most primarily. If they have like blocked arteries or something, we're going to stress the oil as well. We're giving them the whole list. On that list, it never says you must do this, right? It's written very loosely. It's written very lightly. And most of my answers instinctively start with, if it were me, right? Or in my opinion, something like this. So I'm already stepping back. And on the account, I think we've done a good job, and I think you're doing a good job at positioning yourself as a knowledgeable representative. Think of going in to a travel agent. People don't really do that anymore, but you go into a travel agent, I'm expecting this person to have a wide general knowledge of this industry and be able to help me navigate it. It's rather than me getting up and pretending to be the expert. I've really done a lot of work in trying to dumb down my answers, make them as simple as possible, as general as possible, as well as to share as many links as possible. You see, we spent the last year accumulating links to now send to people of longer videos. So if they ask a detailed question, we say, here's the longer, and then we invite them to come back. Part of this is this open relationship and this confidence. Part of this is the open relationship. I am not confident about meeting somebody once, giving them advice, and walking away. I'm neither confident that they will get better, and I'm also not confident that they're even going to do my advice correctly. It's not enough. We need to have a relationship. We are giving a lot of information. For people that need to change everything, they will be overwhelmed, right? We had to, like me in my real life, my partner at the time, we had to put this stuff on our walls and memorize it. We had to put the bad foods and other stuff that we were trying to learn on the kitchen counters and memorize it. It required an open relationship with our uplines. It required us having an open relationship with learning these things with Dr. Glidden. Online, in the DM or in your real life, this is the biggest part of it. And this is also, in my opinion, the biggest value that we give to people, that we're here for you through this process. I'm not expecting them to get better tomorrow. I'm not expecting them to have one salt flush and change their life, and I'm not expecting them to die from it either, right? So I'm not concerned on either of those extremes. I'm confident that the basic recommendations on any one of those three categories, just the food, just the salt, just the supplements, if they do any one of those, I'm confident that they will feel better. If they don't do the other two, it's not a lot of confidence. But you see in the DM and in real life, we try to communicate this. We don't need to give food information in order to sell products. We're just not going to get the best results with our products if we do not do that. Go back into this confidence. How am I confident that we're going to get results? Number one, we've got great information that makes sense and that works with the food, with the salt. Number two, we've got great products and experience with these products. That's easy. Number three, we've created systems to continue to help people without your direct effort. We now have 2 extra accounts just for people who are already involved, right? They get involved, they get the information. Not only do they get the information and service from us in the DM, this is something that you should be confident in. This is what gives you confidence. And not only is there multiple people there to find a missing answer if there is one, and for the few emergencies that are there, or the few confusing things that are there, as you've seen, they get handled pretty quickly because no one knows what to do. And contact me. If I don't know what to do, I contact Wallach. This could happen in 15 minutes, right? We can get an answer. We have a support system here. This is a team. Also, we have a full food account. And Andrew's put a lot of work in over this year. He's got almost 100 videos done. And literally, if you watched all of those 100 videos and you didn't just fall asleep during them, You can cook for yourself without the 12 bad foods already. In 1 year, that is there for everybody. It's free. You also notice that's part of our blurb that we send to everybody. This is our backup support system. Whether you buy off us or not, we're confident in you getting results with us because we've created these systems, because we're not leaving you out in the cold, because if the first few steps fail, we're still here to find out what you need next. Excuse me. There might be a missing piece. There is a lot of missing piece for a lot of people. I warned you, I warned Patrick, I warned everybody that we do spend a lot of time with the hard cases, and they can almost seem to outweigh the good cases. But if you sort through and you look at those comments, and a lot of people have gotten tremendous results from us that we don't even engage with at all, right? Some people have just heard this stuff or just been following. Some people send a message to me on my personal or the Wallach, and they say, look, I've been following you guys for a couple of years. Me and my family have been on these products for a couple of years. Just want to say thank you. And we're like, oh man, that's cool. Didn't even know. But the point is, there's going to be a lot more of those people, and you shouldn't really be that caring emotionally about any of it. Same with the putting up content, talking about confidence. If you put up a video and it gets 10,000 views, there will be at least one person who has something negative to say about it, period. It will happen. Expect this. And then you will not be bothered by it because you expected it.
Yeah.
We put up controversial videos all the time. I am surprised that there's not as much flack. We should, by rights, be getting more flack. We don't. We should be getting threats. We don't. We don't have a lot of haters. So the few that you get, you shouldn't worry about that. Because you can't avoid that no matter what. Grant Cardone says, you got to collect haters. You have to collect haters. The more haters you have, the more successful you are. If you don't have any haters, you are not doing anything. You are boring. You have nothing going on at all. That's the truth. That is the truth. You don't have to be a bad person to have haters. You need to be doing something to have haters. The more you're doing, the more haters you're going to have. If you got 1 million haters, you probably have 1 million followers and supporters. And you're king of the world at that point. Don't worry about them. If that affects confidence at all, forget about them. We're not selling to people that don't want to hear what we have to say, right? I preach to the choir. This is part of my mantra. This is how I think of this, because if you go out there trying to convince the unconvincible, if you go out there and trying to convince the stubborn, like if you're going to try and wake people up and change people's minds and change people at all, you're gonna hurt yourself, because it's an impossible task. I found it much better just to close your eyes and sing. Close your eyes and sing to the choir. Instagram is the most amazing tool for this that's ever been created, that people can search or find, somehow be connected with the stuff that they resonate with. So that's what is resonation. So I'm saying singing. It's metaphorical, but it's real. You project out your real you with your eyes closed, not worrying about who doesn't care, because you shouldn't care about who doesn't care, right? You care about who hates you. What do you care about? Who is the type of person that would also care about that? What type of content would they like to see? How would they like to see it said? Notice another way that I present all this, and a way that a lot of people fail in presenting controversial information, is they present it in a confrontational way. Oh, these sheeple will never get it, right? Look at all these sheeple with their masks on. Look at all these stupid people eating Burger King and McDonald's. Well, I might not consider myself stupid, and I might have eaten at McDonald's earlier that day, right? Very, very, very easy to offend people. So I try never to say anything like this. You never hear me saying, oh, those stupid sheeple. I don't expect sheeple to follow me, right? I expect people with self-respect to follow me, people who would not want to be spoken to like that, people who, if they do not disagree with me, I don't think it's their, if they do not agree with me, I don't think it's their fault if they don't agree with me. I don't think they have to agree with me. If my views are controversial, I should not expect the average person to have heard of this. This goes with vaccines, this goes with nutrients, this goes with any hostility that you might encounter. I expect them to believe that. That's what the mainstream believes, of course. Boom, all the objections really were just handled. You see on my Towers account too, there is haters, man. I post some controversial stuff. They come on and they call me a quack. They'll say that, you know, this information is dangerous. This is as far as some people go. This information is dangerous. And what can I do about it? I just shrug it off. Most of the time, I just like the comment. That seems to drive them nuts half the time.
Yeah, I saw somebody comment. They're like, "You like everything," even though I was like, "It's true, you got to."
Well, the funny thing is, we're already battling an uphill kind of battle with the algorithm and Instagram, and even haters are good for the algorithm because they comment, right? They'll probably watch your video 2 or 3 times just to make sure that they're able to, you know, talk smack about it correctly. And then you like the comment or say thank you to it, and they come back and comment again. This is just actually good for our account, you know.
Wow.
And haters talk about you too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you know, they're a hater doesn't mean they're being taken seriously by the people around them too. Sometimes haters are out there screaming about something, and we're like, let's look into this other thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then you end up liking that other thing. You're like, I knew that other guy was off this wall anyways. I'm gonna unfollow that other guy now, right? So
yeah.
None of that even matters. So part of the way you can be confident is just by realizing that doesn't matter. You know, even the conclusions, right? The fear. We've said conclusions are killers. That's got to be one of the most important things for confidence. If you're sitting there shaking in your boots, you're probably sitting there fearing a negative conclusion.
Yeah.
That's it. Rather than thinking about writing down your list of things you're going to talk about, right? And this goes for live speaking. Live speaking is the hardest thing out of all of this. When it's online, you get tons of time to practice and prepare. By the way, I still get nervous doing podcasts because I don't edit them. It makes me nervous. I don't edit them. I'm not nervous to do a story. If I screw it up, I just hit X and I start it again.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, I delete it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But this, we're just going for it. So by the way, let me pick up too. You said you went to theater.
Yeah.
You studied theater. That's excellent. Let me tell you, you got more balls than I do at your age because I completely outright refused to do presentations. I did get kicked out of high school for bad behavior and attitude and all that stuff. And this was part of it. And even when I went back, like as a mature kind of just trying to get my diploma, I still was not going to do any speaking in front of anybody. Even people I knew. I don't care. Was not going to do it. Went to college, refused to do it. Almost failed the English class they made us take for engineering because I refused to do the presentation involved. And he literally said, man, he said this in front of the class. He's like, if you don't do this, it's 50% of the marks. I don't care. I'm scared, right? Scared of negative conclusions. I was not confident. You know, I was confident maybe to approach a hot girl for different reasons. I was not confident, or, you know, to ask for the business opportunity or to hang out with people I thought were cool. I didn't fear that. I didn't fear rejection or anything like that. I guess I felt clamming up, right? What was the fear? The fear is freezing, probably is the biggest fear. The list thing gets rid of a lot of that. But let me tell you, I never gave a presentation ever until I went to Sydney. I went and worked at the university, and at first I was just assigned, this should be kind of like a blueprint for confidence, by the way, and credibility. At the very first thing, my professor did not try and throw anything crazy at me. He just gave me a bunch of books, and he said, okay, disappear and go read these books. And textbooks from when he was in school and stuff like this, read a bunch of his patents. I had to get caught up. Well, that's easy. Nothing to sweat. I got to read. This is the brick by brick. This is item on the list, daily list, crossing them off. So when you're not stressing about your Lamborghini goals and you're looking at your daily list, it's very easy to be confident. What do I got to do? I just got to sit down and read books. It's pretty easy to do. No education prior, right? No training prior. Here's the books. Show up early. I'd try and show up before my professor every day. As soon as they opened the door on the universities, I think it was 7 or 7:30, maybe even 6:30. I would try to be there to get him a coffee in the morning so that I could help him out a little bit, number one, but so that I also give a little bit of value while I take a little bit of his time and ask him what I need to do for that day. Why do I have confidence? Because I was leaning on his expertise. Probably why you have more confidence is because you're leaning on my expertise. Why do I have more confidence? Because I'm leaning on Dr. Wallach. I know Wallach is a call away. I know Ben Fuchs is a call away. I know that even my uplines in this business, they have more in-depth product knowledge than I do. They're a phone call away. So I'm not fearing any of that. No problem. Anyways, once I read enough, he said, okay, I've got an experiment for you to run. Once again, I went home going, oh my goodness, I don't really know if I can run an experiment. But every step was broken down. Every step was broken down. What do I have to do next? Okay, what kind of machine are we going to build? Okay, we're going to build this. Okay, what parts do we need? Notice we're just worrying about every little thing. This is a process I learned in the university because they had so much to do. And this was a subset of engineering, so there's just so much. And I learned that if you even bother thinking much about the end goal, you're probably just going to be overwhelmed. You know, if you show up to the lab and you got 250 samples to run, you might cry. You might be like, oh my God, this is so much work I got to do. But you just get started. You just get cracking. You just get rolling. You build the machine. Okay, we ran it. Ran the first. Before you know it, you've got a data set, right? Next, what do I do with this data set? Okay, you do this, do this, this. So by the time that I had to give a presentation on it, I was confident enough in the information. The only thing I wasn't confident enough in is actually speaking. So these two things do separate. You can speak. Just the way you're speaking right now, you can speak.
Oh yeah, like I like speaking. When I figured out this stuff, I already wanted to plan, you know, expos and stuff like that because I like talking in front of people. I like engaging people face to face. When I do customer calls, I like to do FaceTime and stuff like that. But
you are miles ahead then. miles. Seriously. But I got crazy nervous. And the first time they got me to speak was to present our conclusion for this experiment. I'm saying all this because this was big. It was huge for me. I have no degree or anything. And now I've got an experiment written up. We have a freaking equation we wrote. You know what I mean? Like, it was a full-blown thing. And I got to give this presentation to a group of Chinese delegates.
Oh.
They don't speak English. And I'm pretty sure that they're just there on a tour because that's the thing delegates do. They're like, okay, we're going to send you down to Australia. You got to go shake some hands. And they're like, all right, whatever. They got to hear a whole bunch of these presentations that they don't care at all about, you know. But there happened to be one guy in there who did care. And he listened very closely to his translation. And we miscommunicated for sure. And it threw me off. But point from that is the next time and every single other time, I went in way, way, way more prepared. My very first talk, I was not prepared. I pretty much literally only had the equation. And then it was just up to me to kind of like explain it. And I didn't even have the structure of how I was going to explain it. Like, what am I going to open with? And I mean, like, if you don't know what to do, you start with the most basic thing. How am I going to open my speech? Hi or hello? Or welcome, right? With literally, what is the first word? If you can't come up with that, right? If you might have to backtrack if you can't come up with that. You're way ahead of all of this. But I messed up my first presentation. I think I got emotional about it because this guy challenged me on a technicality in Cantonese, and we couldn't even understand each other, and it got out of hand quick. You know, not ugly, but I definitely lost grace, and that's all it takes. And then they coached me on it, mainly on being emotional about it. This is one of the main things they told me, like, this isn't your equation. You know, this is just a piece of data. This is what we do, right? If the experiment turns out to be bogus, who cares? We're here to do it's not who cares. None of them would ever use these exact words. This is just my interpretation. Once we've done our best, you know, we have to divorce ourselves from the conclusions after that. If we put our best into this experiment and it turns out that it gets published and somebody across the world comes out 2 days later and they said, these guys are dumb. This was disproved years ago by this, or there's this obvious flaw in their design. And we're like, man, shoot. You know, that never happened, but we have to be prepared for it to happen. And their point was, it's not your business. You know, you could do the worst research in the world, or like, it doesn't matter, you know, because you had good intentions going in. And if it was a total failure, or we totally blow it, or whatever, it doesn't matter. This started with, you know, how do you know your recommendations are good? Because we're doing the best we can. And we promise to keep doing the best we can. If they come back and the problem hasn't been fixed, we promise to continue to figure it out with them. And if we do fail, which I'm sure happens, actually I know for a fact it happens, like they give up or some, you know, whatever. So we lose our chance. I don't beat myself up about it. I can't. We did our best. We just did our best. That's it.
Yeah. That's actually a situation happened like that where we ended up failing because, well, I ended up failing. Um, one of the people that I was helping out, they had diabetes and high blood pressure, and um, the only reason why they still stick with me is because they claim, their diabetes is better, but as their diabetes got better, their uh, their blood pressure, their hypertension started to go up, and it got to where they had to go to the hospital, and I just felt so bad and stuff like that, and that's when I started saying, like, I got to reach out to you and I got to take this more serious, because um, it was just, I didn't have the answer for that and stuff like that. And I feel like as you said earlier, I believe you said it, failure and stuff, like falling on your face, there's nothing bad about that. There's nothing bad about um, you know fearing the failure, or just failing in general, because that's a learning opportunity, and that's what brings experience and confidence again. And so yeah, that's I just wanted to once again circle back to where you talked about and I feel like this is like the best point that was made in this podcast, was the just close your eyes and sing. um like, I never really thought about it like that, but you have to. You can't really try to force things on people. You just got to be confidently you. And when they see how it works, or see how your business works, and just sees a controlled and collected person delivering what they believe is true, it kind of, like, the message is kind of, persuaded in a positive way. I don't understand
When
if
you
I'm saying
said,
that right.
yeah, when you said they can see what you believe in,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it doesn't matter to them as much that what you believe in is true. It matters to them more that they understand your beliefs and your motivations. So
Yeah.
when you close your eyes and sing, they see the real person. I've put some very personal information. In fact, I've taken some of it down because I felt like it's too personal. But you have to do it with your eyes closed, because the me 2-3 years ago would have been like, don't put that out there, don't
Yeah.
just close your eyes. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna say it. I don't care what anybody's gonna think about it. And I wanna hone in here. I remember this case, obviously, that you're talking about. Now, this is a great example, and I'm gonna talk about a bird first. I don't know if you've ever done this. You find a bird with a broken wing. Doesn't matter what kind of bird it is, and the normal average human being goes, "Oh my gosh, this bird, I did it. I did it as a kid. I said, oh man, this bird's wing's broken. I'm gonna take it home, and I'm gonna try and save it. I'm gonna put it in the box, and I'm gonna put the little towels in the box, and I'm gonna keep it warm, and I'm gonna try and give it some water, in a syringe. I'm gonna put it in its little mouth, and it dies the next day. And you wake, most of the time, it'll die the next day, despite your best efforts.
Yeah.
And there's really only two ways to approach this. Number one is to say, well, that was freaking stupid. I'm not gonna put my heart into this. Heartbroken, basically. I'm never gonna love again. I'll never try and save a bird again. This is a real response that could happen. It's too heartbreaking to put yourself out there and to try and help a person or an animal a lot of times, and it fails. It's one way to look at it. That person will never be a professional veterinarian. That person will never be a professional healthcare worker. That person will never be a professional salesperson. Because the other way to look at it is to just accept it and say, you know what, I did my best. So what, I couldn't save a bird that was almost dead. So what, somebody who came to me on 4, 5, 6 drugs, some of them that were conflicting, if it's the same person I'm thinking about, conflicting,
Yeah.
literally one drug to do this and then another drug to counteract that,
Yeah.
to expect this person to bounce to 100%, especially quickly, is unrealistic. If your expectation was overexcited to begin with, that's on you. You just need to dial back the expectations, dial back the pitch, because what you said, she's doing better, that is great. If that was the original goal, we'd be doing great. Because when someone comes in on literally one drug, as soon as they're on one pharmaceutical drug, the game is changed. If they're on more than one drug, the game is much more changed. I expect gradual improvement. I have seen miracles. I have. I have seen miracles. I've seen people on multiple drugs get off of those drugs within a week, less than a week, with permission from their doctor, with the proper nutrition.
Wow.
It does not happen every time. It just doesn't. And there's other things about lifestyle that makes those things happen more easily. There's people that I'm thinking of in my head. There's not a long list of things that I need to go into detail. I would say one of them that sticks out is that they were women who were completely determined to beat it on their own and who had the time to do so. They lived at home. They did not have to go to work. They didn't have to deal with much else. They had mature children or no children present. You know, they had a lot of control over the situation and over themselves. A lot of people do not have the same level of control over themselves. That will hold them back anyways. Those are the same type of people that will say, I'm not bashing these people, this is just a human thing, that will say, yeah, I've been trying to do the food stuff, and you're looking at them, maybe in real life, or you're looking at their chart, and you're like, yo, this person has 6 diseases. What do you mean you're trying? You know, this is my real, like, stern actual attitude about it. The fed up part of me, the one where the bird's dead and I'm freaking tired of trying, right? And then the other part is just to accept that not everyone's going to go 100%. And if they do not go 100%, then I do not have to worry 100% about them. I don't have to, you know, there's nothing for me to worry about yet if we still haven't done the recommendations, first of all. Those recommendations usually are 90 days, but we're not recommending beyond 7 pharmaceutical drugs. We're recommending immediately working with the doctor to reduce the doses. And in that type of a case, where you got someone on 4 drugs, 6 drugs, conflicting drugs, blood pressure and diabetes, this is a broken wing. It's a bird with a broken wing. And Lashawn, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that even a 20-year-old, put this in perspective. People ask about animals and EMF, by the way. Let me tie this exact same point in here. People say, why aren't animals affected by EMF as much? Answer, it's mostly a long-term thing. Most of these things that we're talking about take place over long periods of time. Nutrient deficiencies often, they take a while to get to the point where you're diagnosed with a disease, whether or not you've been deficient for a while. Animals don't live that long. Humans, a young human is 20 years old. It's 2 decades. It's 2 decades of deficiencies. It's 2 decades of problems. It's 2 decades of a body playing musical chairs with nutrients, you know, not being able to get the job done. 2 decades. Across America and Canada, you're going to be hard-pressed to find very many wild animals that are 20 years old or more. You might find a few bears or something like that, a few alligators, obviously, but rare. Most of the animals in the wild are dying 3 to 5 years old, kind of thing. Even the most majestic creatures that you can picture, they're getting to their prime and they're falling off a cliff or being eaten by a wolf. You know, so the human being that comes to us at 30 years old, in retrospect, in our context, they are young, but they still have a lot of stuff that we're not responsible for, right? People come, and this is a huge failure of the medical establishment in general, right? Our job would be so much easier if people were taught this in school. Like, not only are we responsible for giving them all this information from the kindergarten 101 level up, right? We're responsible for teaching them this, doing the whole boot camps, also responsible for selling them the product, right? You see how the medical doctor, he gets to play it off because I don't manufacture those things. I'm just recommending them. Well, we got to do it all, you know, and it's a huge freaking job. So my point is, this is not all your responsibility. We show up in this madness. I just showed up late in life in this madness, you know. I didn't ask for this. I didn't know the whole world was dying of mineral deficiencies and Health Canada ain't helping us and our doctors are wasting trillions of dollars and actually killing people. And I didn't know this stuff. You know, goes back to the I was too, right? I get it. The failed patient is not your pure responsibility. In the book that I wrote, the defense of Dr. Wallach, the Nutra-Smart Rebuttal, there was one part in there where people were talking about Dr. Wallach because he failed to save Coretta Scott King.
Yeah,
This
I
is something
just read past that.
You will see this in many articles. Dr. Wallach spent 4 hours with this woman. 4 hours.
Wow.
4 hours. If they think he's responsible for failing to save Coretta Scott King when she didn't even want to do a cancer protocol, she just wanted to walk the Million Man March and then go see Martin in heaven, she was going to do that by faith alone, in my opinion. She already had the determination to do that walk. She was going to do it, you know? And then she was already determined to die after, and she was going to die after. She was old, and she had cancer. And Wallach spent 4 hours with her at the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You show up to someone who's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, and they have this list of problems, and they're on this drugs, and they have this history, and they have You're not responsible for, you know, some people come to us and they've been hit by a car, right? Some people have extreme injuries. The old me might have overpromised, right? Might have said, hey, if you put this frequency tuning disc on, I wouldn't literally have said it, but like, this is how far you can go. You put this frequency tuning disc on, you might get that fully healed in 90 days. That's an overstretch. We've literally deal with people who have shattered skeletons, you know? The best we can say with absolute certain confidence. Number one, if you do the basics, you will feel better. It's a very general statement that I have 1000% confidence in. Number two, we will continue to be here for you and help you get better. That's it. Those are the only 2 points that I'm confident in. I do not need to be confident that the man who was hit by the car is going to fully heal to 100%. To me, that's unrealistic. I was born with birth defects. I do not ever expect my skeleton to be 100% perfect. I have a crooked tooth. It's not going to uncrook. You know what I mean? All of this is dialing it down to what are we confident in. If you're not confident about something, say that. For example, I'm not confident in homeopathic remedies. Dr. Glidden is a homeopath. One of my uplines, his name's Johnny Vigna. He's your upline too. All of my uplines are your uplines as well. One of our uplines is a homeopath as well. But I don't know much about it. This is my answer, right? It's my real answer. People think of me as an expert in some things. If they talk to me about homeopathy, I don't know much about homeopathy. I do not have confidence in homeopathy. It doesn't mean it works or doesn't work. It means I don't have enough experience with it. You asked me about Argentine 23, the colloidal silver, the other day.
Yeah.
What did I say? I said, Dr. Glidden says it's the best, but I don't know. I don't really have experience with it. But then I talked about something I did have experience in. And I guess what I didn't say was that, well, if the street level of colloidal silver works really well, and Dr. Glidden says Argentine 23 is the best colloidal silver, therefore, right, if then, because, therefore, I expect Argentine 23 to have good results. Super simple. I'm 100% confident in that statement. How can I not be? But I didn't say if you take Argentine 23, you will no longer have an autoimmune disease in 30 days. That's a claim. I can't be confident in that claim. I don't know what's going to happen in 30 days. Even with the time frame thing, we say 90 days. What if they take it every other day for 90 days? Am I confident now? No, I have to dial my specific confidence to them. The more they do, the better they will feel. If they take it every day, they will feel better.
True.
I'm going to stop and let you jump in because I was kind of wrapped a ton of different things into that.
No, and that's like, I actually lost my thought. Sorry. But I did have something I wanted to add, and it was just about like something that you said to me that I keep repeating to myself, and it was the fact that like people come to us with 20 years of this disease, and they come to us and expect to get results in like a week or something like that, and that's putting a lot of pressure. And that was one of the things that put a lot of pressure on me. In the beginning, it's like they're like, well, I'm not getting the results, and it's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they've had this for like 20 years. Like,
I don't feel anything. I don't feel any. These guys are scammers.
Yeah, it's like,
it's been 6 days, man.
Say that?
That happens. I get it.
Yeah,
and this is why we just be more comfortable. Just be more, hey guys, hey, this is long term.
Yeah,
you see it in the story sometimes too. I try to be like, we're in this for a while. This is not gonna. We're not going anywhere. If you didn't get results yet, continue. You haven't changed your life yet. Been gluten-free for 2 weeks, even 6 months, man. There can be a lot of re-gearing in a body. And I can't pretend to know that it's going to go 100% smoothly in every single circumstance. Again, if it hasn't been beaten in for you, I'm going to beat it in further. The fact that I was also brought into the radiation business gives me less confidence in the nutrition. I'm going to repeat this. When I was brought into the radiation realm, I now have less confidence in the nutrition itself. There's now another pillar that is almost of equal importance. That complicates the situation further.
Yeah.
That in both realms, because I can't say just buy this EMF product and you'll feel a whole bunch better. I have to say you still have to not eat French fries. You still have to avoid gluten. You still have to, that you avoid soda. You still have to do those things that you're not going to be healthy. The bracelet's not going to be the magic fix. Just like the nutrient is not going to be the magic fix. If the person has a cell phone in their hand all day with no devices at all on it, no protection devices at all on the phone, no protection devices at all on them, no protection devices in their room that they're sitting in, then the nutrition in their body is not going to be working correctly, period. Period, period, period. How does this end up making me more confident? Because I'm being more realistic with what I'm telling people.
Yeah.
And we're giving it out openly for free. We're not asking them to believe it or not. I don't know if you notice, I've never asked anybody to believe anything. I don't care if you believe it or not. I genuinely don't care. Divorced. Conclusions are killers. Conclusions, not my business. Your conclusion, not my business. Right? What is my business? Number one, to tell the audience what my motivations are, because that's transparency. I think it's good for business. Yeah. But my business is to tell you what works and what doesn't work. As we move forward in this modern world, it's getting harder and harder out there. Our job of helping people is harder and harder. I have put that on record, right? Some of my uplines, even, not my uplines actually, but some people in this business in general have kind of like, and Fred too, Fred Van Loo, he talks about this too. And some people are like, you guys shouldn't be saying this. Like, we're having a harder time selling supplements if you guys are telling people that supplements are not working as well in the modern time. And if you haven't heard that before, or someone listening hasn't heard that before, let me repeat that because I've said this before. As we go forward, we get better products and less results. Not just us, every single business that's dealing with people and nutrition, people and healing. It is getting harder for us to get results across the board, period, in the modern world. Because, my explanation, it's not contaminants, it's not chemicals. If anything, our household chemicals have decreased and our awareness about these things have increased. And lots of people already come to us on a, quote, natural tip, right? They're already buying natural soap, natural deodorants, all that stuff. But they're still failing to heal. My opinion is it's probably the radiation. The frequency tuning disc bracelet, the EP2 pendant, these things don't stop radiation. They enhance your body against it. They make your body a little bit stronger against it. I have a house full of devices. It's still not enough, and I live in the country. It's not enough because these devices are in the room. That is the difference maker. Some people do literally live beside a cell phone tower. They do not tell us this in their list of questions. Some of them live above a subway station. Some of them live beside a transfer station, a radio station, some other source that will permanently interfere with their well-being. So when I've entered this in, because I didn't know about this before either, I didn't know why there's a whole bunch of reasons why results vary, right? There's things that make it more likely they're going to get a better result if they, and I don't even want to go into that conversation today, but one of them, yeah, we're getting a bit long, and I have a friend coming up to see us too, so I might have to bail out, but we know that people live in different environments is my point here. If you think that everybody's the same and everybody's going to get the same result, not true. We expect a general range of results. We expect general improvement, right? With things like the salt flush, as you've seen, it's kind of a wild card. I don't know exactly what's going to happen right away, but I know that if you ride that out, if you did get a negative result, you do increase your salt over time, you're going to feel better. That's my super confident stance. Mm-hmm. I've over answered all of this, but this is the reason why our business model is a little bit complicated. But it's also why we needed a team and why we have a team in putting all this information out there. Because what we have done successfully over the last 2 years, almost on that account, it's almost our anniversary there, we have actually educated people on most of this stuff. So even though there's a huge list of things, I have divorced myself from the conclusion in the sense that I don't expect any of the followers to have heard 100% of what we have to say because there's so much. So that's okay. If they fail to get results initially, it's not concerning to me because they're still there. And there's still many other things to consider. By choice, we choose not to give people every bit of information that we possibly could because it's overwhelming. As you've seen in the DM, we already give them a dump of information, a lot of information. We can't do any more than that. I can't go into more radiation information or anything. What I can hope is that you're going to stick with us and get more of this information over time. Having said that, let me wrap this into a kind of a closing sequence too, because often you will have people overwhelmed with all of this. They will be overwhelmed with the information. They will be overwhelmed with the food things that they need to do. And this could affect your confidence. But if your confidence, and especially even in that worst case that you were talking about, older woman, multiple drugs, bad case. Take it step by step. Your confidence is in step by step. Your confidence is that if we stick with them, which is part of our promise, if they stick with us as part of the two-way street, they will learn what they need to know. If we do not find the exact thing they're missing right now, we will help them find it. If we are wrong about, also keep in mind, the only thing we can really be wrong about is what the thing is going to be for them. And sometimes I have to take a guess. Sometimes I have to make a decision on what would be the best thing for you to try first because it's cost effective or you can buy it in your country. These are things that I might have to get around. But I also know that I don't have a hair analysis machine in front of me, and I'm doing this for free. So I hope this takes a little bit of pressure off the confidence with you. Sometimes we are guessing a little bit, but not that much. And usually when we're doing a good solid guess, it should help them. But if, say, I tell them to go buy some zinc and they come back and they say, you know what, I still have my psoriasis. I don't always want to look like I'm just trying to sell them more product, but I'm going to say, oh, dang. Okay, well, you got to boost the omega-3 or the D as well, right? I just have to tell them. It is a guess. I don't know which one it is because we don't have a hair scan here. You know, I could have told you to buy all three at once, but only one of them is going to be the key for you, probably. So where's my confidence? My confidence is in being there for them on the second time, on the third time. And as you see this, as you go through some more and more of those conversations, especially the difficult ones, some of them have taken 6 months or a year to get fully straightened out. They just have. And so I didn't need to be confident that I give them the perfect recommendation the first time, because what we are proposing here is that this is not a one-time deal. I want to repeat that. This is not a one-time deal. If this was a one-time deal, I have to have 100% confidence that you're going to drive my car off of the car lot and that car is not going to give you a problem. That's a different type of sale. We're here dealing with people trying to fix their bodies. They have to know that they can use us as a continuing service, and that we have to know if they don't come back, they will not get a result. If they don't come back and ask us questions, they're not doing it. Right? Yeah. They're really not. If they don't have anything, unless there is the people that just go off and do it on their own. Like I said, hey, I've been following you. I've been doing it. That's great. But still, I bet if they message us, they would get more detailed information and we would be able to help them pinpoint it even more. But nonetheless, for the people who actually need us, I hope I've illustrated that there isn't, I haven't introduced one point in which to actually be nervous yet. If you ever got to the end of the line and we couldn't figure it out, all you got to do is say, yo, Ryan, or you even know, you can call Dr. Wallach. You can call his radio show and talk to him.
Yeah.
Or you can call me and we figure it out. That's it. I'm 100% confident that I know most of the answers and that I don't need most of the answers anyways. And then if a question comes up that stumps me, I don't have to answer it right away. I can say, you know what? I never heard that one before. Let me get back to you on that. Even further in that, long conversation here, but this is important both for confidence and for sales.
Yeah, no.
I might not have to even get back to them on that. It might not always be the most relevant question. This is going to be my final point on this, I think. It might not be relevant. Sometimes you can spin your head trying to find answers that are not relevant, including some of the technical questions that your grandma's asking you. As you said, oh, everybody becomes a researcher. Well, if it's out of character for them to be a scientist, then there's probably an unspoken objection, and it's probably better to find that unspoken objection rather than to waste time, chasing geese around looking for answers that don't matter. Someone asked the other day, is drooling a medical problem or something? Like, it's not an important question, is what I'm getting at. But some that look like important things are really actually not important. Sometimes you scroll up and you're like, wait a minute. This person has a technical question, but they haven't answered our questionnaire yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm just bringing it back to the kindergarten level of saying, well, how is this person even going to know what we have to offer if they don't get the questions? How are they arguing with us if they haven't heard our proposition? How could they have heard our proposition if they didn't get the questions? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So rather than answer the engineer, I say, hold on a minute, sir. There's a lot of details in our distribution system. We have hundreds of ingredients. I would love to give you more information on our processes, but what we actually do here, you will read this in the DM, but what we actually do here is give people advice to better their own lives. We do this for free. All we need is to ask these questions. Here's how we do it. Sometimes I might even say, you don't have to answer them, don't worry. I almost never say that, but sometimes I have if they're like semi-hostile.
Yeah.
Rather than answering their engineering question, giving them a reference of some kind, like to look into it more or whatever, and then just flipping them, saying, you just walked into the dentist's office. Actually, here's the form that we have. Even if you don't want your teeth cleaned, I'm still giving you the form. I don't know. You're here yelling at me in my business. I'm going to at least tell you what we do and what we have to offer. And then a lot of the times, someone is hostile. You'll notice this even further. These are things that people don't say. A lot of the people that are hostile about something like birth defects, cancer, diabetes, a lot of them have very personal experience with this, and you do not know what their personal experience is, and some of them could just be having a bad day. So it's best to just even fully, completely emotionally divorce yourself from absolutely any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we actually do? We do our freaking best every day, and we don't make excuses about it. We don't even tell the audience about this, but now that you're in contact, we wake up every freaking day and we do this.
Yeah.
And we just it. We don't even seem to know why we're even on this mission anymore. It's just how it is. The war has been going on, the war on our health, so to speak. And we wake up and we get to it. And we answer the questions to the best of our ability. As you've seen, even the haters, they do have sincere questions, at least real questions. We answer them. That's it. That's it. If they love us or hate us, I don't care. If they get the best results or they get the worst results, it sounds bad, but I don't care. I don't care because if it didn't work, we're going to have the opportunity to do better next time or keep going. Hopefully they haven't given up. If they have given up, I can't change that. How can I care about something I can't change about? I'm supposed to be concerned about steering the ship, not about the wave that I hit 10 miles ago. We got to look forward. It doesn't help the people that is our audience. It doesn't help them if we're caught up in the boo-hoo, of the bad stuff that does happen, because it will always happen, because the more stuff we sell, the more people will get a bad reaction to it, unless it's plant-derived minerals. Like I even gave the story of Tangy Tangerine. I threw up once from Tangy Tangerine, but I've taken it 5,000 other times. If you sell enough, someone's going to throw up from your product. Someone's going to not like the taste. Someone's going to not like you. Someone's going to be in a bad day and just randomly take it out on you. All this stuff's going to happen. None of it actually matters. What matters is we are there giving our best day in, day out, and we're there for the follow-up. We're not crooks, right? We're not setting up tent, selling a bunch of stuff, packing up and leaving town. We are accountable to our audience. We're accountable to our customers. And this is totally public. This is the most public thing that's ever been kind of had. Like, if we screwed up at our store in Windsor, somebody would have to contact the media, and they'd have to bring the news station down and to tell the world about our wrongdoing. On social media, you can see our wrongdoing if someone blasts it, right? If we screw up, they're going to see it. And sometimes we do have to go on and apologize. Sometimes I have to apologize. I've apologized to the audience before,
Yeah.
We put a strong effort into transparency. And at the end of that, and at the end of this conversation, I see no reason not to have confidence. But those butterflies in your stomach, like I said at the beginning, if it's nervousness at all, it's a good thing. It means you're doing more than you're comfortable with. And that's just good. That's just, you get that feeling when you want to ask the hot girl out too. It's a good thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, overall, I know we're running long and you have to go, but I just really wanted to thank you for this. I'm not sure if like I hope this is beneficial for like the anybody that's listening and stuff like that. And sorry when I lost my train of thought. When you drop like deep stuff, I kind of get introverted and lose. But I just love everything that you're doing, and I think this is powerful stuff. Like it reminds me of your book, Good Morning Babylon. It just
Hmm.
shows like it's just bringing different distributors and stories and stuff like that, and all into one learning experience. And I really respect it. And even us dealing with the DMs, I tried to reach out to Patrick and stuff like that, just because having that network also helps with my confidence, I found. And just seeing other distributors and how they deal with stuff and saying, oh, I want to take that aspect of it or stuff like that, or oh, I never learned that. But I just think that like what you're doing is really powerful, and I can't wait to see like what it starts to sprout into in the next coming years. But thank you for this talk so much, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And very truthfully and honestly, I have been stuck because I haven't had enough people like you helping with the pipeline that we do have. We have a storefront that is pretty busy. It's going to get busy again in the new year. You better believe that.
Yeah.
But I want to say, a lot of people that in this business, they will pretty much have the same attitude. It's like, look, man, especially just in network marketing in general, forget about health products. They're gonna be like, look, not everyone's gonna take this seriously. You have to just forget about it. That's it. And on the flip side of that, you do get, like, when I first started this, obviously some people fought me on it, especially on the peripheral, people who didn't really know me, like the
Yeah.
people who knew me at least knew that I'm not going to sell them some nonsense, but whatever. But I also had some people, such as my friend Luke, who's coming up today. Just a good example is that, for all the bad, like for this person you fail to heal or fail to help, because we're not physically healing them, they're healing themselves, we're just helping them. You're going to help hundreds of people. We lose track of how many people we help. I have people come up and hug me with tears in their eyes and I don't remember them.
Yeah.
Seriously, this happens. So you can divorce from that. But so every failure, I got a guy like Luke. I lost touch with Luke for 10 years after high school. We were buddies in high school.
Wow.
He ended up marrying one of my other friends, one of my girlfriends. There's a friend that's a girl that's from a totally different kind of sphere of my life. That was cool. But he was one of the people that when we first got excited about this, yeah, a bunch of people weren't interested, but he said, hell yeah. And for the last 5 years, he's been my best distributor, and he's become one of the closest people in my life. He's definitely one of my best friends. So this is the positive, right? This is the sort of the payoff. Not only do we able to make a living from this, check mark number 1, develop new relationships like you and I right here,
Mm-hmm.
check mark number 2. We can get closer with some people that we already know, check mark number 3. And it's awesome. And the truth is, a lot of my old friends and stuff, we have no reason to see each other. The only reason we have to see each other is because we want to. And in reality, in adult life, that's not a strong enough reason when we live 8 hours away from each other.
Yeah.
This guy's driven to come and see me in a lot of these crazy places I've lived in. And we've remained good friends. We've got new stories. We've got new experiences. And these types of friendships, to me, in adult life are so, so valuable. You're 22. You already know most of your childhood relationships are more or less dead. There's probably nothing to them. It's
Yeah.
just a fact of what it is. So right now, as you're entering into a profession or what you're building yourself, you're growing and all this stuff, I've started with people, other people, having a team, having a group, having a movement. Part of what made network marketing real for me in real life was real people bringing me to meet other real people in real events.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do that, but I've tried to replicate it to the best of my ability on Instagram by showing that we are real human beings. We are sharing the human experience of what we're doing. We're not just making flyers and handing them out. We're showing you the back office kind of thing. And now that you're part of a team, that should be your biggest point in confidence. It's the biggest point in my confidence. And to me, it's kind of all we got. And you will attract good people in this business and network marketing. You'll learn that. This is like, who goes to events? People who are more strong-minded than not, right? The
Mm-hmm.
people who, it might be difficult to get people to events, but the people who show up to those events are gold people, gold. gold, right? Some of the people in our upline, they came into this from an expo. Some of my best people still, I met them at events. So you will be connected with good people. Out of all the high school people I lost touch with, Luke came back. Luke's a go-getter, and I'm happy to have him in my life. And you will be surrounded only with this. And this is also part of why Instagram is so good and why social media is so good, is because when you sing to that choir, you close your eyes and you sing, not only will the good people in real life be filtered out, they'll be attracted to you, but online, it's way outweighs, like the good people way outweigh the bad people because you're singing. And who you're going to be surrounded with in 2 to 5 years, you're probably going to be in the same situation with me, where I have an inbox full of good people, awesome people, smart people, beautiful people, people who take care of themselves, people who respect themselves, people who want to get better in life. You see what I mean here? You project this out and you sing these things. And you sing, I want to do better. And I'm sharing how I'm trying to do better. I'm sharing my journey. And what do you get? A bunch of people on the same tip who hear that. That's who you need to be around. That's who you need to surround yourself with. Those are the team members that we conquer the world with, really, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the team members we build businesses with, that we retire with.
Definitely.
So don't focus on the negative. Don't focus on the haters. Focus on what you got. Focus on what we do. Focus on what we can do. Don't worry about what you can't change. I can't throw any more sayings in. I'm done with the sayings.
Yeah.
I've exhausted myself.
Well, I think this is a good stopping point for now. And once again, thank you so much for this information. Because, I did start off wanting this to be a personal call, but I realized that, there's value in everything that we can talk to as distributors and stuff like that. But yeah. Whew.
It's super valuable. It's helped our business incredibly. And I think it's one of the most valuable things we could do. Truthfully, I wish I was recording phone calls for years. By the way, one more point. You'll hear yourself recorded. I don't know if you've heard yourself recorded in a while, but it's probably painful to listen to. It's one of those critical things of you're talking about getting more confidence. Mm-hmm. Listening to the first conversations you ever record of yourself is one of the hardest things to ever do, but you hear your mistakes. And it gives you confidence for the next one. So I recommend listening to this one a couple of times. Long before this, we used to record conference calls every Wednesday. The Wednesday evening strictly business conference call. I would host it. I would record it. I would listen to it, and I would cringe through it. Oh my gosh. And then get better. Yeah. Better and better and better until the point where you don't need to listen to them. You're all good. You're ready to go. Lashawn, next time I want to talk about ego death, if you will. Take a mental note.
Oh, that was actually, yeah. I like that.
Because that's part of this, and we don't have time.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you sticking through this. I appreciate anybody who's listened this far. And I appreciate the work that you're doing, Lashawn. And we're going to continue on. We're going to have more of these because there's more to cover.
Definitely.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope you have a good rest of your day and weekend. And by the way, I am taking the rest of the day off.
I'm making a cooking video today, so I'll show you.
Good.
That. But,
show it to me. Send it to me. I may or may not respond. I do not know.
You can take the day off, so go ahead.
We'll talk to you later, man. Thank you, everybody.
Next time.
Take it easy.
All right, you too.
Hey, all you Dr. Wallach supporters and longevity fans out there. Most of you at some point will have come up against this Nutra-Smart bashing of Dr. Wallach. There are a few articles that are published specifically to tarnish Dr. Wallach and his message. And I have actually written this whole book. This was a few years ago. I wrote a full-length book in rebuttal to these vicious attacks on Dr. Wallach. I believe every objection that you are going to encounter in the field is addressed in this book. It's absolutely a great resource for you to have as a distributor. And if you do ever have anybody coming up to you saying, I heard what you said about Dr. Wallach and I was going to look into some of his vitamins, but I came up against this article on the internet, Nutra-Smart article is probably the one they read. So it's a great deal, guys. I put it up very cheap. It's just another tool in our toolbox. And the Amazon link is in the description of this video. Make sure to check out our food YouTube channel called Notus Foods. This is 100% Dr. Wallach approved. And the chef that is preparing the food here and teaching you how to follow Dr. Wallach's food guidelines and Dr. Glidden's food guidelines. He's an industry professional, over 22 years experience and a college diploma to back it up. And we do have experienced cooks and bakers as well, working on content for the YouTube channel Notus Foods and the Instagram channel Notus Foods. It's 100% gluten-free, oil-free, all the stuff about burning fats and all of the rules that you would need to know or follow. We're here to teach it to you here, as well as give you tons of ideas for recipes, individual dishes, and meals. Of course, in the near future, we do have a cookbook coming out. Stay tuned for it. And if you'd like to talk to us directly, you can call us. Actually, you can call Judy. She's downriver Detroit. You can call from anywhere in the US, Canada, Mexico, UK, Australia, New Zealand, any other country. You want to email us or send us a DM on whatever app that you want to contact us on. Instagram is super convenient for us. And that's for any sales or product information in those countries, or any distributor information